Hi friends, welcome back to Table Full of Joy. I'm Cheryl, and we are kicking off our Thanksgiving week by getting some baking done. I took some orders from some people for some holiday desserts that they might need for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to bring you guys along while I make all of those this week. I'm going to start off with one. I love this recipe. This is a Cranberry Orange Bundt Cake. So what I'm going to do for this, because she wants smaller ones, so I'm going to do this in a small bundt pan. If you don't have one of these, you can do a regular size bundt pan. You can do it in a loaf pan. You can even do it in a regular cake pan if you don't have something like this. These just make such a beautiful presentation. They're just so cute. They are an individual size, but if you're going to have a bunch of holiday desserts, these are great because you can cut these into fourths and everybody gets a little bite. That way they can enjoy all the other things that you have on your dessert table, so they don't have to stuff themselves with just one dessert. So to start off with, we're going to get our spray. We're going to spray our pan. We are not going to do flour like you traditionally would with a cake. We are going to put sugar in the bottom of these. We want to make sure we get these sprayed really, really, really well, because we don't want these things sticking anywhere. So you want to make sure that you're going around everywhere inside here. So we got one done. Let's give our oil another pump. We'll get the rest of these done. So we have all 6 of our little bundt cups here filled or sprayed off really good. With some oil, we're going to take a little bit of sugar. And we're going to put sugar on the inside of each one of these. We're going to sprinkle it around. And then we're going to roll it around inside the pan just like you would if you're putting if you're putting flour inside your bundt pan. You want to do this over the garbage so that you don't end up with sugar all over your floor. Nobody wants that. You want a good amount of sugar on the inside of these. So we'll take our sugar. We're going to put another good tablespoon inside this one. Let's get it in all of them. I can already hear it hitting the garbage can, so it's a good thing that we are doing this over garbage can. If you prefer, you can totally do this over your sink if you feel like you're still going to make a big mess with it, but we really want to make sure that we have all of this covered in the bottom. Make sure it's covered everywhere with sugar. All right, we're going to set that aside now. We're going to get on with making our bundt cakes. So I had 1 egg that cracked when I took it out of the container, so I just put that in there. So this recipe does take 3 eggs. I'm going to add 2 more to our mixer. I love cranberry orange. It's such a classic flavor for the holidays. We've got 1 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup of softened butter. You want to make sure it's room temperature butter, because if it's too hard still, it's not going to mix in really well, and you're going to have these big clumps of butter all through your recipe, and you don't want that. So we're going to lock it down. We're going to give this a good mix. You want to beat this pretty high because you want this to be a really light lemony color. This is almost like a pound cake is what this cake is very similar to. Pound cakes need to have the butter and the sugar and the eggs really whipped in really well so that they are nice and light and fluffy. Okay, you can see this is nice and light yellow. We're going to take our spatula and we are going to scrape down the inside of our bowl because we want to make sure that we're getting all this stuff that is up on the side. Make sure we're getting all of this down in there before we add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, we are going to add 1 cup of sour cream. And again, we're using our measuring cups that are super easy to get all of this sticky stuff out. We're just going to set our spatula right on top of that. We're going to add, the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. This cake is pretty sweet, so I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon plus a pinch because I think it needs a little bit of extra salt in this. We're going to add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we are going to add in 1.5 cups of flour. And like I've said before, make sure that you have something to level off your flour with. I just use a butter knife. It works just fine. If you have something else that works better for you, then go ahead. But I just use a butter knife. So we're going to put in our full cup. Now we're going to do our 1/2 cup. That in, and we are going to mix this one more time, and then we're going to add our cranberries and our orange zest and orange juice. Try not to over mix this. We're going to get it almost all the way mixed right there, and we are going to stop. We're going to stop right there so we can add our cranberries and our orange juice and orange zest. The recipe originally calls for fresh cranberries. They're fine. You can do that if you really want to. I like to do these raisins. They seem to be a lot easier for me to use. So I have a 6-ounce bag here, and we're going to use almost all of this. I'm going to say we're going to use that's about 4 ounces, and I think that's probably pretty good. We're going to use that. Let's grab our orange. We need to get our zester so we can get some zest in here. Let's turn our paddle around a little bit so we can get in here. This is just a microplane zester. They work fantastic for doing zesting. You can use these for garlic. You can use them for citrus. I use them for onion when I make potato salad because I am not a fan of having big chunks of onion in my potato salad, so I like to have just that flavor in it. So we are just going to add the zest of 1 orange. And can I just tell you how good this orange already smells? And we haven't even baked anything yet, but this just smells amazing. I'm super excited to do this for a sweet friend of mine. I've known her for years, and I'm super excited to be able to make these little desserts for her Thanksgiving get-together she's having. Anxious to hear what everybody thinks of the little cakes. Last year I used that same pan and I did red velvet cakes, and they were adorable. They were so cute. I took white icing made out of powdered sugar and peppermint flavoring and made just a nice little drizzle over the cake so they looked really nice and pretty. And then I put crushed candy canes on top, and they were adorable. I got little brown cardboard cake boxes, the little square ones. They were perfect for just one little cake, and it was super cute to throw that into a goodie basket that I gave to somebody as a gift. And it was great. They were super excited to have that. Cut this in half really quick. All right, so we're gonna add in the juice of 1 orange. I really need to get a bigger juicer. My juicer that I have is perfect for lemons and limes, but it doesn't really work for oranges because the oranges are too big. So we're gonna just get our fingers in here. This is the way I do it when I don't have a juicer that fits. Like I said, I really need to get one. I just haven't got one yet. So that is a half. This is a pretty good size orange. I don't think I'm gonna add the whole thing because I don't want this to be too runny. So we're gonna add just a little bit more of this. I think they mean a regular size orange, and this was a ginormous orange. So we're just gonna use part of it. All right, now we are gonna give this one last mix, nice and slow. We are probably gonna have to use our spatula to really give things one last good mix inside the mixing bowl before we start to add these to our bundt pans. But this is smelling amazing. Okay, that looks really good. Let's unlock it. You know, I think I'm going to just stir in the rest of these. I don't think it's gonna hurt. So this is essentially a full 6-ounce bag of dried cranberries or craisins. So we're gonna give this a scrape, get all of this off of our paddle. These are gonna bake at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Now everybody's oven is different, so when a cookbook or a recipe says a certain cooking time, use it as a guide. Don't take it as this is exactly how long it's gonna take, because I have baked stuff in my oven where the recipe says it's gonna take 30 minutes and it takes 20 minutes. So you just don't know. You really want to check things. You know, when you put things in the oven, just check it. Check it real quick after so long, just to make sure that you are not over baking something. These cakes, you want to be really, really careful to not over bake them, because these are supposed to be a very light, very moist cake. Kind of like I said, they're supposed to be kind of like a pound cake. And so you want them to be really light, really moist, really flavorful. And the last thing we want to do is to have a dry cake. So we're going to make sure that we don't over bake these. We have our little bundt pans here. Let me grab our scoop. So I'm just going to use the largest scoop that I have, and we're going to fill these. And I honestly cannot remember how many scoops it takes to fill these bundt pans, but you and I can figure that out together as we start to fill these. Let's get all of this off of our spatula. Okay, so we are just going to get in and we're going to start filling these in our little bundt pan. We have it covered with sugar. We have our mix, and we're just going to get right in. We are ready to get these filled. So we're just going to get right into the batter. We're going to see how many of these scoops it takes to fill these. You want to make sure that when you're filling these, that you're not getting the batter on the top of this, like I just did, on the top of this little two-piece that's in the middle of it, because that will just cause some very uneven baking, and that's the last thing we want. So that was 3 scoops in here. I think I'm going to do one more, and we're just going to kind of spread it around. So it looks like it's taking about 4 of these scoops to fill each one of these. Each little bundt cake is going to take 4 scoops of our batter. So we're going to get these filled, and then we're going to get these right in the oven so they can start baking. When they come out, we're going to let them cool for just a couple of minutes, and then we are going to turn them out onto our cooling rack so they can finish cooling that way. You want to make sure that you are taking them out of the pan before they have time to completely set, because otherwise they're going to be hard to get out. Even with the sugar and the oil and stuff on them, they're still going to be really, really hard to get out of the pan. You don't want them starting to set in there and the sugar starting to get hard. You want that sugar to have a chance to really be in the air and air dry, not dry in the bundt pan itself. These are going to be so delicious. They are so cute. I have lots of other things that I'm going to be making over the next couple of days for my clients that requested some really fun Thanksgiving desserts this year. I'm excited to bring you guys along with me as I bake these things for them and let you guys see some new fun recipes that you can try for your family and friends. But these are looking super, super good. I love cranberry orange. It's such a great combination, especially around the holidays. Cranberry orange muffins are one of my favorite. I love them with a good cup of coffee or a good cup of tea. I try not to drink coffee late in the day. It just doesn't work for me. It tends to keep me awake, so I try not to drink it too super late or real super late in the afternoon. So if I'm going to have something sweet like this, then I'll have a nice cup of tea to go with it. But these are going to be super great with whatever she decides to serve with them. She also requested my pumpkin roll, and I already have a video up of that one if you're interested in watching that one. I'll try to leave a link for the pumpkin roll recipe so that you guys can see that one as well. But these are looking super good. I like to use a scoop like this to fill these. I have a little better control over getting them full. Looks like this one might need just a tiny bit more. I don't know why this one looks a little less, but I think that's gonna do it right there. So another secret to doing these, it's loud, but you want to drop this pan on your counter a couple of times. There's little bubbles that pop up in these, and you don't want those air bubbles in your cake because you're going to wind up with holes, and you don't want that. So we're going to get these into the oven, 350 degrees. They're going to bake for about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to check them after about 20 minutes. Check the doneness. Just get a toothpick, or if you have a cake tester, do that. Whatever it takes, check them. See if it comes out clean. If it comes out clean, they're done. And then we're going to pull them out. We're going to get them on a cooling rack, and they're going to be ready. All right, we're going to check our bundt cakes in here and see how they're looking. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. All right, our toothpick came out clean. I'm going to pull these out. We're going to let these sit for just a couple minutes. And then we're going to turn them out onto our cooling rack and let them cool completely. All right, so we have our little beautiful bundt cakes here. We are going to turn these out onto our cooling rack, and we are going to say a prayer that they come out. Hopefully they come out easy, without any problems. Oh my gosh, look at those. I am so excited. These turned out beautiful. Look at those. Super excited. We are going to get the rest of these made and get them ready to go to our customer. Our little orange cranberry bundt cakes have cooled overnight, so they're ready for us to do our orange glaze. We have a little bit of powdered sugar in here, and we're just going to squeeze in some fresh orange juice. This is going to intensify that orange flavor that's in our cake. You want to just make a nice, you don't want it super runny, but you want the glaze thin enough that you can spread this onto your cakes without it making a huge mess. We're just going to drizzle it, so looks like we might need just a little more orange juice to make this a good drizzling consistency. Okay, looks like we have a good consistency now. So we have our little cakes all drizzled now with our powdered sugar glaze with the orange juice and powdered sugar. I'm sure my friend is going to be super happy to share those with her family and friends tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I want to thank you all so much for joining me in my kitchen today. It means so much to me that you would take time out of your day to spend time with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now so that you guys don't miss out on any of the fun stuff that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months. Holiday season's coming up. We're going to be doing lots of baking, lots of cooking, spending lots of time together in the kitchen. So just make sure you don't miss out on anything, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season. Thanks, friends.